Hey everybody, it's Angie Atkinson and
Hey, it's B-Rad Celebrity Stylist. Welcome you, my empath family, to the Empowered Empath.
welcome everybody. So today we are going to share with you, but while I'm waiting for my chat to pop up, let me just remind you that my name is Angie Atkinson and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and we'll get going. Okay. Hello, Jillian. Tommy says, hey, B-Rad.
Hey.
I'm opening up our, bear with me, Brad. I'm
Yeah.
opening up our document, which is apparently giving me a lot of trouble. All right. It's like, it's Canadian. I don't know what to do with it. My computer, guys, I'm so sorry I was late today. My computer's been giving me all kinds of crap. Okay, Brad, let's just get right into it. So, oh, wait a minute. Where was it? Now I have to find it. Here we go. So today we're going to talk about myths about empaths. I'm just going to start us off and then Brad can, well, is that all right with you, Brad?
Sure can. Yep.
All right. So, myth number one, people think empaths are navel gazing and self absorbed. Now, the truth is that we often focus on ourselves, or excuse me, on others more than ourselves. And it's true that empaths are often unexplainably moody and a little quiet on the outside, but this isn't because they're excessively absorbed with thinking too much about themselves, so much as it's about their feelings, about being deeply affected by the exterior emotions of other people because we experience those things as our own. The empath's ability to intuitively feel the feelings of other people is what weighs us down so much. In fact, it's characteristic of the empath to pay more attention to others' needs than their own needs. What do you think about that, Brad?
Exactly. Yeah, it's the needs, but we're going to go quickly to myth number two. So, myth number two is empaths are mentally ill. What? The truth is that we are magnets to negative energy. This often creates psychological imbalances within us. Empaths are excellent listeners, confidants, and counselors. For this reason, it's common for people to be drawn towards their sincere and caring natures, almost like magnets. Therefore, empaths often experience a lot of emotional baggage dumping from other people. And we have a difficult releasing themselves from that negative energy that remains in their minds and their bodies afterwards. Unfortunately, this leads to a lot of lingering depressive emotions that the empath is left with. Thus, the empath can appear to be mentally ill and depressed, and in some cases, legitimately is. However, in most cases, the empath is congested with remnants of harmful emotional energy, like sinuses are congested with mucus during the flu virus. The root of the problem doesn't lie with the empath, it's a result of the other outer emotional climate. Oh, yeah, climate. So, yeah, take us to number three, Angie.
Yeah. And before I do that, I just want to add one thing.
Mhm.
In addition to being magnets for negative energy, which does, as Brad said, work because of the
Mhm.
whole other people coming to us to dump on us thing, we are also magnets for positive energy if we choose to be. So keep
Mhm.
that in mind. All right. Number three, myth number three, empaths are psychologically frail. The truth, right? I know. See, he laughs. The truth is that we are biologically programmed to be more sensitive and more in tune with our surrounding environment. So we are essentially walking around in the world with all of the accumulated karma, emotions, and energy from other people. Understandably, this results in a lot of inner emotional tension for the empath who might be more prone to crying, excuse me, and exhibiting other signs of weakness. Additionally, the empath finds it extremely difficult to partake in many normal activities. For instance, watching a movie about Nazi concentration camps is extremely emotionally upsetting for the empath. And honestly, I would say for me personally, that particular type of movie is very upsetting. Um, but getting a job in an office can even be overwhelming sometimes and tiring for an empath who is bombarded with other people's emotions constantly. So it's not surprising that some people perceive an empath as a wussy or frail or weak minded for the person who fails to understand the constant pressure the empath lives under. But I want to point out again that as an empath, you have the ability to sort of put up a little bubble around yourself and work through some of that as you develop in your skills. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, and so
Right.
our last and
Oh,
final one for oh,
sorry.
you oh.
One more point. Sorry, Brad.
Okay, yeah,
My bad. The fact is that most empaths aren't driven clinically insane by the constant emotional flux they experience. I mean, I think that's testimony enough to their mental strength, don't you?
exactly. So another thing with mental strength is the myth number 4 is that empaths are lazy. The truth is we often lack mental, emotional, and physical energy due to the intense empathic ability to understand others. Chronic fatigue syndromes, or CFS, among other physical issues like I have, like headaches, insomnia, fibromyalgia, are all commonly attributed to empaths. In our minds are constantly overloaded with stress, tension, pressure. It therefore translates that into our bodies as well. This often results in sickness, such as the ones mentioned above: headaches, insomnia, fibromyalgia, that sort of thing. Thus, the empaths often lack the energy and therefore desire to do many things, preferring to relax, include taking naps instead. And I know for myself, I need to step back a little bit, walk in nature, take a nap if I need to, because sometimes that energy can be so draining for me personally as an empath that I find I just have to separate myself. Any thoughts, Angie?
I'm totally with you. And I find that as you grow, and like I said, as you kind of grow in your abilities and as you evolve, I think you can learn how to, like I always say, bubble up, put that sort of protective bubble around yourself. And it does help, but I still find that I need the the strength. I need the time alone every day, a little bit, just to kind of restore my energy. What about you?
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, as I say, to mainly now, because we're in our winter, but our winter here, it's still +6 degrees. So I'm not sure what it is for you, but still we have no snow. It's winter in Canada, but we have no snow. We do have warm weather and the roads are clear. So, what most people think, we're not all in igloos. I know there's some parts of Canada right now that do have snow. Where I live, we don't. So I
Yeah,
like to go out in nature as much as I can, or go to the gym, any kind of physical exercise, meditation, just kind of getting yourself away from people. The same, having that protective bubble or white light or whatever you like to use to kind of keep you, let's say, protected. But I think you don't want to wall yourself in. You kind of want to bring that energy out, so you're drawing more positive energy towards you and less of the negative stuff, so it can be less draining on you. Or the other way is to make a journal.
yeah,
Have a journal, write down, and when certain people are around you or certain thoughts come or things like that, journal it, and you may know that there's a pattern. So if you know there's certain people you need to stay away from, or certain foods make you feel a certain way, then you know how to kind of stay away from those as well.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that if we all have to remember whatever we're putting out there is what's coming back to us. So if we're focused on everything that sucks, then more stuff that sucks comes to you. So focus on the good things, focus on the gratitude, and try to keep your positive vibe in check, so to speak. And I think that helps a lot, personally. What do you think?
Exactly. Yeah. Same sort of
Yeah.
thing. Just be having yourself grounded.
Yep.
As long as you're firmly planted, your roots are deep, that's going to keep you solid. If you're kind of out everywhere, going with every emotion, emotions and feelings themselves are very fickle and they change. So you're good to know what's in alignment with your own core. Stick to that, and then anything else, just kind of move it away, or just adapt it in your own way. So either accept, change, or release. So those are the basic things you do with everything in life that has to do with situations, people, and things as well.
Yep, absolutely. So let's go to the chat, shall we? We have Jillian. She says hello. Tommy says, be rad. And
Hey, Tommy.
Shannon O'Brien says, hello, Angie and fellow survivors. Brian Garner and his beautiful face are here. Hello, Brian. And Tommy G says, good morning, Ange. Good morning, B. Good morning.
Good morning.
Argus says, good morning, Angie. Sister, Malta, dear, and Brad. Can't stay for long. Have a busy schedule. We'll sneak in at 1. Hey, Nargis. Have a good day today. Arlene Robertson says, good morning, Angie. Good morning, Miss Arlene. And Malta says, welcome to Empowered Empath with Angie and Brad, and offers technical advice for those who need it. The beautiful Rose Hargrove in the house. Good morning, Rose Hargrove. Frankie Robertson says, greetings, Queen Bee and everyone. Greetings, Frankie. Welcome back.
Hey, Frankie.
Eden Denise says, morning, Brad and Angie and everyone. Good morning. Sue Cronert in the house. Hey, girl. Hey. I saw that you joined up on the Empath Mastermind. I am so excited to work with you. Frankie Robertson says, hello, Brad.
Hey.
Eddie Knows is back. Hey, Eddie Knows, welcome back. He says, hi, Angie, and hello to the whole squatty. What up, squatty?
Is that me?
I think it's you.
Angie and the squatty? That's me.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh. Tanny Person says, hey, fellow empaths. I love using my powers for good. Absolutely. Me too, my friend. Pretty Luna Eyes is here. Great name. What's today's topic? Well, we were talking about myths about empaths that are obviously not true. Oh, Anne Pretty is in the house. She says, hello, Penelope from Criminal Minds. What up, girl? I've heard that before. Frankie Robertson says, hello, Eddie Knows. Andrea Christensen says, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Breon Garner says, good morning, Angie, be red and all. Breon.
Hey.
He has a beautiful face. I'm telling you, you gotta see it. Okay. Andrea Christensen. Juliana Smith is here. Hey, girl. Hey. April Finnerty is here. Eden Denise. Sylvia Rose. Hey, girl. Welcome back. She says, hi, Angie. Hello, Brad. Hey. Sylvia is one of our awesome empath masterminds as well. And Malta says, good morning, Angie, be rad and all. Hey, Malta, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being patient with me this morning. I had technical difficulties. I'm so sorry I was late today, you guys. And I even made B Rad wait. I'm kind of bad today. I'm sorry. Had a little problem. Oh, gosh. Okay. Shannon O'Brien says, be rad. It's so good to see you again.
Hey. Mwah, mwah. Good to see you too. Yep. Every week. Yep.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Tommy says, mighty Malta. Ms. Nunu is here. She says, good morning, Ange, Brad, and everyone. Hey. Okay. We have Ashley Thrasher. She says, hi, everyone. Missed you this weekend, Angie. Hope everyone had a great holiday. On my way to my last check-in before I get to start appointments with a real therapist. Excited and emotional. Congratulations, Ashley. That is amazing, and I'm really excited for you. I hope it goes well, and I hope your therapist, I'm sure you did your due diligence with the therapist. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes for you. Congratulations. Verse Harmony is here. She says, or he says, I can't see if it's he or she baited and bashed when I stuck to the boundaries of reciprocal. Well, that happens. And then they tend to go on this smear campaign and everything. Give me some more information. Are you stressing out about it? Are you feeling upset? Tell me what's going on with you. Viva La Vida is here. Good morning, Viva La Vida. Crocodino too says, hello, Angie. Hey, Crocodino, how you doing? Claire Buckley says, hi, Angie. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving and weekend. I did. How was your weekend, Brad?
Hey, mine was great. Actually, because again, I'm from Toronto, Canada. So our Thanksgiving was in October.
Yeah, that's right.
So happy Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving to all of you this past weekend. I hope everybody had a great time, filled with, love and joy and family or whatever it is for you, even for yourself, and just to be thankful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Bonnie says, good morning, Angie, Brad, and everyone. Can Brad talk about the collapsed narcissist and best strategies for the empath dealing with it and signs of collapsing narcissist? Brad, you want to talk about that?
To collapse the narcissist? As far
so
as
what she's talking about,
or a narcissist that's slowly falling down.
Right. I did a video on a collapsed narcissist a while back, and basically the concept is that what happens is they get a little older, they stop being effective in their manipulations, and they kind of implode.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
And it does really work that way. As I say, for me, I've had several experiences. Number one, business relationships plus personal relationships, like as in friends, and then two, romantic relationships with narcissists. So the same sort of thing with a relationship I had when I finally had my strength, then I came fully into my own and I started And you have to do this in the right way because they will rebel back at you. But once I found for me personally the best way, other than gray rocking and doing no contact, which I did as well. But prior to that, I started bringing truth and light into the situation. So anytime that person tried to say something that wasn't right, or things that weren't really right, or they're trying to gaslight, which they make you think you're crazy. No, I told you this. I didn't tell you that. Soon as you bring truth to it, that's what I found what started breaking them down, because you're challenging their facade, their illusion of who they are, their reality of who that grandiose person they believe they are. But as soon as you kind of start taking that down, but I'd say you have to do it carefully, and you have to also really understand the circumstance and the person, because depending on who you're dealing with, they can come back with a vengeance. But lucky enough for me, I brought enough truth that I could bring them down, and then I just went no contact. I blocked them on every social media, blocked them on every type of thing, so they couldn't make any contact. Sometimes it's tough because you're friends with their family, you're friends with the same friends, and that's what happened to me, because so many people after I had done that, they apologized to me and said, I'm sorry for believing that other person lies about you, because they do create, because I've been part of a smear campaign more than once by different people, same sort of thing. But once you realize it's happening, you stand your own, stand your core, stand your ground. People will see who you are authentically, and that's the best way. Just be yourself authentically, and that person, eventually the cracks are going to show. And once those cracks get there, they'll start to break. They'll start to break open, or they'll find a new supply.
And you've got to understand that they can only torture you if you allow them to. It's you can kind of develop this. And I know, Bonnie, your situation is difficult because you've got your narcissist husband and your narcissist mother that you're dealing with, and that's very it's you're surrounded at the moment. So I know it's hard, but work on that bubble up process. Work on not allowing them to emotionally affect you. Eventually, gray rock becomes real. At first, you kind of fake it, right? At first, you kind of pretend it's okay with you, and then as time goes on, you eventually you really develop the ability to not give a shit what they
Mm-hmm.
think. You know what I mean? And when you get there, I think that's when you're going to be able to snap it. I think Brad's right. I think no contact is always the best route, but I know in your
Mm-hmm.
case, Bonnie, that you're not ready to go there just yet. So be patient with yourself, but keep
Mm-hmm.
yourself, sort of insulated, like we talked about, with the light coming and the bubble and whatever works for you the best. Any other comments on that, Brad?
Yeah, that's exactly. And along the same lines, we're just explaining it differently, but to me, being at your core is exactly the same thing. Knowing who you are, not taking their crap.
Yeah,
As I say,
absolutely.
the gray rocking at first, but eventually it does become more real, and you come to a point where I care more about me in a good way than I do about what this person is doing to me.
Yeah,
Yes, they're in my life, but you they're in your life, but they don't have to be part of your life. I don't know if that makes sense. They can be more like characters in your movie as opposed to them really affecting you. Because
yeah.
all this eventually is an illusion. So if
Hmm.
you put yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now, are you actually still going to be in the same situation? Or is it going to change? Or if they are, if you have children, things like that, then you make some kind of common ground that it is workable,
Yeah,
for both of you, that still keeps yourself protected.
absolutely. Yes. Um, Breon says, were you able to look into this? Yes, I was, the supernova. And I'm working on a video on that for you as well. And I think Brad and I will discuss it maybe in our next video
Mm-hmm.
together. Um, let's see here. Andrea Christensen said, okay, I'm sure that Malta's going to help her. Um, Jamie Lynn says, I'm a magnet for negative energy. Great. Okay, hold up. I want to talk about that. So, Jamie Lynn, here's the deal. Being a magnet for negative, you're a magnet for energy. People who feel emotional pain may be drawn to you. People who are negative, people who want to stand in your light, may be drawn to you. But you may choose to attract positive people. You may choose to repel negative people by staying focused on the positive stuff. And you may choose to not allow those people into your energy field. Just because they want to dump on you doesn't mean you have to allow them to. Okay, so keep that in mind. You have choices, and you are allowed to decide who gets to be in your little circle and who doesn't. I always call it my dance circle. This is my dance circle right here. You know what I'm saying? Something to think about. Anything to add to that, Brad?
Yeah, exactly. So for me, like my name says there, I am a hairstylist. So with that, I have people, and like bartenders, hairstylists are the same thing. You think, wow, free therapy.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what
true.
I mean? Where they like to dump on you, they like to, but for me, I can choose what I take on. Just because there's a paying client in my chair doesn't mean I have to take on that negative energy. I can diffuse the situation. I can change the conversation. So if somebody's getting into that negative place about how bad their life is, it's up to you if you want to choose. If that's knocking at your door, you can open it up and let that inside you, and you take on those negative emotions. Or you can say, stop. You look through the peephole, and then until they change, so you can give them maybe a different direction to go, or pick something out there, or just go something totally different. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And say, that you love being at the beach and blah, 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 or pick something out of what they're saying, and take them to a good place. And you can actually change their mindset very easily. Same for us as well. If you're feeling down, everybody knows what feeling sad is like. You're hunched over, your face is down. As soon as you change your body language, instantly, mentally, your emotional state will change.
Yeah. And another thing I want to add to that is that, I've talked before about being indignant, right? What I mean by that is not allowing someone to, like Brad said, you've got to trust yourself, you've got to love yourself, you've got to know yourself. And when you do, when you can really love yourself unconditionally and choose for yourself what your standards are, then you just don't allow people to go outside of those standards, right? So if you have, if you decide to yourself, I'm not going to allow people to speak to me like I'm less than them, then if somebody does, your indignant self, the inner guardian of yourself or whatever that you create can go, wait a minute, that's not acceptable to me. And then you act. Now, I'm not saying you should punch a person in the face because we're empaths, we don't do that, right? What I'm saying though is that you don't have to tolerate it, just like Brad said, just like I said. It's you choose who comes into your inner circle very carefully.
Mhm.
And you have the right to do that. Okay. And Viva La Vida says, okay, though, but I have to isolate to avoid being taken advantage of. And that may be true when you're weak, when you're feeling weak. You have to actively protect your peace. You have to actively
Mhm.
defend your peace and choose it. And then it gets better. So Viva La Vida says, I thought I was the only one dealing with this. No, girl, we are all with you.
No,
Verse
and I think,
harmonies.
oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Oh, yeah. And I think vibrationally, it's the same thing. If you believe in law of attraction, it's the same. If you're vibrating down here, you're going to
Mhm.
attract stuff that vibrates down here. If
Yeah.
you're vibrating high, then this stuff that's vibrating is just going to
Right.
pass you by, because those negative people don't want lively, sunshine, energetic people. They're not going to naturally hang around you.
That's right. You have to decide.
Mhm.
That's right. And the thing that I think is so beautiful is something I never learned until I was a little older in life is and something I'm so excited that I'm teaching to my children now is that, like, just like Brad said, you choose. You can vibrate high if you want to. And knowing that you can control that, knowing that you can choose to manifest things and control the vibration level in your life. I mean, when you really fully grasp that concept, you literally can manifest almost anything that you want. I mean, literally, it's kind of amazing if you
Mhm.
think about it. Um, yeah. Anyway, verse harmony says, "I see a person though through. Wait a minute. I see a person through with benefit of doubt, no matter what the odds are, and I stay my ground. And she used her mother's poor health and teacher's death, and not death, including holidays, to get me to trip up." Okay. How did you trip up, verse harmony? Shastina says, "Good morning, all." Good morning, Shastina. How you doing, honey? And Malta says, "Good morning to everyone, and thanks for stopping by." Okay. Bonnie says, "By the way, I agree with empaths being overgiving and empaths left with trauma from being around their polar opposite that they are around, namely the toxic narcissist." Agreed. Yeah, agreed. And that's really true. And a lot of times we're raised by narcissists, as you Bonnie know for sure, um, and that tends to cause us to not have any clue how to handle ourselves because we're really taught to serve or taught to um, accept less than we deserve because they want us to sort of be their background character or whatever. And when you learn about your light and you learn how to shine it without beating yourself up, without apology, it changes your life. It does. Yeah. Um, okay. Okay, Verse Harmony says, because I'm very caring, and even when I did well for 2 years all the time, I chose to see her through so I could have confirmation and not just my accurate intuition. Okay, so basically, you gave more than you should have given to a narcissist. Is that what you're saying to me? And now you're feeling kind of depleted? Let me know. Tanny Person says, what? My psych capacity is on a superhero hero scale. It's so much to carry. Indeed. Yeah. Um, Jillian says, my boss told me there were financial difficulties and I'm probably being let go. This is after I absorbed someone else's job and have been working double time to offset that person leaving. Jillian.
Mm.
You know, Jillian, I've had some ideas about you recently, and why don't you hit me up on Facebook? I might be able to help you with something. Hit me up. Okay. Bonnie says toxic energy around you is cumulative, in my opinion. I think it can be for sure. Yeah. What do you think about that, Brad?
Yeah, it can be cumulative, but the same. It's what you're choosing to allow to build up, right? If you're in it and you're drawing more, and you're allowing yourself to be consumed by it, I think then can be cumulative. But if you can be like a duck, right? Duck in water, they shake the water off their back. They get wet, shake it off. So basically that's what you do. Take your thing, shake it off, and that'll get rid of that energy. It actually really works. That's what I do. As
Yeah.
soon as there's a situation, I just shake it off, shake your body, let it go. You'll get a little tingle, but it'll get rid of that energy.
And you
Another one.
can. Yeah. Go ahead.
Exactly. And another way is cord cutting. Another way is it's the same because I do massage as well. What we do is once you're done with that person or with your client that you've massaged, you rinse with cold water all the way up to detach yourself from that energy of that person. That's
Yeah.
another way to do it as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So Viva La Vida says it's so irritating when people relate to my sensitivity as weakness, especially when it's in the form of tears. I feel ya. People don't understand empaths unless they are empaths, and even so, sometimes when people are empaths and they don't know it or they don't get it, they don't even understand. So I understand that. Just try not to let that bother you. You know, it's kind of funny to say, but you know that old saying, "What people think of me is not my problem." And what I mean by that is, if people are being negative to you or about you, you can choose to internalize it if you want to or not. I
Yeah.
choose not. You know.
Yeah, and there's a great book I read. It's called Highly Sensitive People. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. I'm not sure the author, but I think they also have two books. One is Highly Sensitive People, and the other one's Highly Sensitive People in Love. But it kind of really helps me, and that's what helped me more with understanding being an empath, was reading the book. The highly sensitive person. But it really makes a difference because you're so highly sensitive, you're emotional, you're this, you're that. This book really helps break it down and explain it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Eddie Knows says, Ange, thanks for all you do. You're always caring for and helping others. Just want you to know that we care about you too. God bless. Thank you so much, Eddie Knows. I appreciate you. Thank you. Frankie Robertson says, listening intently. Good thinking. Viva La Vida says, good point, Angie. Thank you. Thank you. Bonnie says, how about the collapsing empath? Speaking of the magnet syndrome. Oh, certainly. You know, here's the thing about an empath. You know, if we aren't careful, we can certainly collapse under the pressure of the world. I mean, I think for most empaths, we look around and we see that the world is kind of ugly and it's painful to us. But we have to figure out a way to sort of keep ourselves in the right vibrational space, because the more of us who do that, the better the world becomes, in my opinion, overall. But the collapsing empath is something, can always, like anyone, can be restored if they choose to, up to a point. Do you think you're a collapsing empath, Bonnie? Brad, what do you think about that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's allowing what you bring in, but that's the same thing we're talking before. Is to say you can. For me personally, I mentioned this before in other episodes. The way that I see people, I see the world is without their masks. So I see them behind all that stuff they're trying to portray. Like, I'm a wonderful person. I'm this. I'm that. Even with your pets. Somebody comes, they're pleasant, they're at the door, but your dog is barking like crazy. They can see behind the mask. So that's basically the way it works for me with interacting with people, because people have lots of stuff going on. One way, yes, is to withdraw, and we had that in an earlier comment about isolation, but you have to be very careful with isolation that you use it for enlightenment, as opposed to being so isolated that you're putting yourself away from the world and you become lonely,
Right.
right? So and because being alone doesn't mean lonely, but you have to watch how you use that isolation from people. Or the basic way is trust your instincts, because as empaths we have that ability to sense energy, to sense people, to sense stuff around us, and knowing what situation you should be in, what people you should be around. As I say, it's about one, knowing who you are, knowing
Yeah.
who you are as a person, staying true to that core, and whatever isn't in alignment with you, don't worry about people's feelings. As long as you're not doing it maliciously to people, it's not going to be taken that way. And we're not responsible for other people's emotions and how they take stuff. Like if you have to tell somebody, I can't go to the store for you, because you can't, because you have a million other things to do, that's their issue to deal with. But if you're just saying, I have nothing else going on today, but I'm going to tell you I can't go, that's totally different. And you're also reciprocating that same energy. But the same, you can collapse if you allow, but the same, usually it's about holding every thought captive. But it's the same, it's the door knocking thing, which is an easy mental thing that I get. When everything is coming at you, imagine it knocking at your door. So you choose whether you open that door and let it in, or whether you keep that door closed and let it pass by.
Right. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And Verse Harmony says, I always forgive. And I think that's great. You have to forgive, but you certainly don't have to allow people to abuse you again once you forgive them. So I always say, write the letter, right? The letter where you say, here's what you did to me. These are the things I have a problem with. This is why I'm going no contact, or whatever you're saying. And then at the end of the letter say, and now I'm forgiving you, but not for yourself, not for you, the person that you're writing the letter to, but for me, because I deserve to be, free of this toxic energy in my life. So forgiving is different than, forgetting, right? Just keep that in mind. All right. Jillian says another person was hired, but that area is losing money because that person is friends with the manager. My job is at jeopardy. I'm upset because I shut down my practice to go work there. I'm so sorry, Jillian. So
Mm-hmm.
sorry. I can totally understand, but I do have a really good idea that might help, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
I
But
can.
I think in that, and that's what he's saying, when one door closes, another one opens. And
Yeah.
I see this stuff as opportunity.
Mhm.
And for a lot of people, you know what I mean? It is I don't think how to put this right, but I think there's a way. I don't think it's always beneficial to work for someone else.
I
You know what
agree.
I mean? I think you can be an entrepreneur, and maybe this is the way the universe is telling you you need to be in your own light, and you're not allowing to shine where you are.
Well, with Jillian's particular background, she's an attorney,
Hmm.
and she has been an amazing support system to this community. I've got a really good idea that I think, Jillian, that I think might help. So let's talk about it. Um, Privately.
Hmm.
All right. Tommy D says, I've learned to bounce back from all the damage caused by narcissists, and I pray that all here do as well. We wake up, we change, we evolve, learn, and move on. Empath power rocks. Yes.
Yay.
Yes, Tommy D, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, let's see here. Ms. Nunu says, yes, we are very sensitive. Like a sponge, we absorb so much we get weary. Correct. But choose what you absorb, like we talked about earlier in this show. Choose what you allow into your circle, into your inner self, okay? Because you have the right and the ability to do that. Yep. Hello, Mo Satcher. Mo Satcher says hello.
Hey, Mo.
Yep. All right, let's see here. Where was I? Okay, and then I just lost my place. It's cool though. Bear with me. Um, Here we go. Okay, boy, I got really far down here. I hate when that happens. I lose my spot. I saw something from Jillian that was awesome, and now I lost it. Okay, hold on. Bear with me, guys. Okay, so Bob Roberts is here. Hey, Bob Roberts. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna find it. The lazy way, people. Um, oh, all right. Here we go. Really? Okay. I guess Jillian is. Here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, guys. Jillian says, I'm praising God because I know there's an opportunity here and I know I will land on my feet because I'm a smart girl and I work hard. I'm looking forward to embracing moving ahead. Absolutely. I think that's amazing. And I have seriously good ideas for you. Um, and I mean, maybe they're different or the same as your ideas, but I think I can help a little bit. Okay. Um, Viva La Vida says that's the spirit, Jillian. Absolutely. Jamie Lynn says, Jillian, I'm sorry I can relate with being out of work and the narc discarding me just before that. Our lives aren't easy. Right. But don't say my life isn't easy. You know, say my life is getting a little easier every day. Something like that. Stay focused on what you want, not what you don't want. Don't attract more not easy energy into your life. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Um, Malta says, Jillian, I'm sorry to hear it, and I believe in you. You're an amazing individual. Shastina says this is truly hitting home for her. And Eddie Knows says, Jillian, that doesn't sound fair. I'm so sorry to hear it. Frankie Robertson has hugs and prayers for Jillian. Faith C is here. She says, hi, everyone. I have one of those as well. I feel like I never have energy, and if I do, it's drained quickly. I think that's common for empaths, especially when we have dealt with narcissists, like we've talked about earlier. Brad, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I always set boundaries, and I find that's the best way for me when I know I'm getting drained energetically, emotionally, physically. I always set boundaries, and I find that's the best way to preserve my energy because no one has the right to take that energy from you unless you allow it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sue Croner says, are there different levels of empaths? I think yes, absolutely. And I think it in different, like, you know, we've talked before about different types of empaths, but I think levels as far as how sensitive we are and how we control our abilities and things like that, I think it starts with learning that we are an empath in the first place up to a point. And I think as time goes on, we can choose to evolve in our abilities or not. I personally have intentionally chosen to evolve in those abilities so I could function in the world without crying or being angry or whatever all the
Mhm.
time. Because, you know, even just going into a big crowd is a struggle for me still, but I can manage it now, even though I don't love it. So, any thoughts on that, Brad?
But exactly, and that's what you need. That's what you need to do. You have to evolve yourself, and I think the way to grow is not be adverse to these stuff. A lot of it's how you deal with it. I think 10% is what actually happened. 90% is how you choose to deal with it. Same for me. Like I'm around people all day long. I am the same. I hate going or dislike going to the mall. I dislike being in large groups, but yet I talk in front of thousands of people at one time. So imagine a whole room, never mind a small group of people, but a whole like audience of people the same. If I went out to any event or things like that, I would get stuff from everybody in the room, but all at the same time. But you learn to grow and you learn to, as say, by setting boundaries and taking different steps, you can allow yourself because all these situations are only temporal and they're only in that now moment. Once that now moment is past, then so is all that other stuff as well. So you got to learn to let go of all that. Yes, some situations are happening now, but they're not going to happen forever. So as long as you're always mindful in that moment, I think that will really help a lot.
Yeah. And Tommy D says those stress illnesses are often introduced by the narcissist. I had to majorly detoxify to get that spirit off of me. Bonnie says, yeah, I have immune system problems and fibromyalgia. And I've done videos on this before. It is common because we do tend to internalize, especially when we don't understand that we shouldn't sometimes. We do. And it's shockingly common among survivors, fibromyalgia, immune system problems, and a lot of other different little things,
Mhm.
and you know, you're torn about whether to even discuss it publicly, because if we do discuss it publicly, then they might try to say that it's all in your head, and it's not all in your head. It literally becomes part of your life, and so it certainly is an issue, and certainly changing your vibration, like we talked about, is one way to sort of improve, I think, your symptoms if you all are already in that situation. Any thoughts on that,
Yeah,
Brett?
exactly. Always how your mind is, your body will always manifest it physically. As I say, whether it be headaches, whether it be a pure immune system, and but a lot of times too, especially a suppressed immune system, a lot of it is through stress. You know what I mean, or high levels of anxiety, depression. All those things aren't really good. You know, a lot of negative feeling. If you're not happy, you know, laughing, joyous, because all that will add more life to your body and allow your immune system to be stronger. But any negative emotion will always take it down. But usually stress is the number one factor. And as an empath and being with a narcissist, stress is one thing that's high, not during the love bombing stage, but after you get past that and you're in and you start being gaslighted, and then a lot of the real kind of stuff, them playing with you because they don't really care about you or your emotions, they're going to put as much stress on you as they can because they don't care.
Yeah,
They don't
for
care
sure.
about you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And Faith says, I have trouble bubbling up. Do you have any suggestions? Yeah. So one of the things I suggest is to imagine that you've got like a little tiny light right in your heart or right below your heart even, and imagine it kind of starting to grow. And you can do this with your eyes closed, literally. Imagine it starting to grow and kind of enveloping your body in like an egg shape, and then you kind of walk around in the world like that, and I've done this thing where I shoot off a little cord and I throw one around my kids too while I'm at it. you know Bubble them up just for extra protection. I don't know, but maybe it's all your imagination, but it does seem to really help. So that's something. Frankie Robertson wants to know if you are in Toronto. Be rad.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I live in Toronto, Canada. Yep.
Okay. um, we're going to answer a couple more and then we're going to wrap up, because we are just about out of time here. First Harmony says, I figure if they choose to exploit and do whichever, it's their choice and no reflection on defining me. That's correct. And to get others to think poorly of me, I just embrace it. My investment came back to me. Well, that's great. That's great. And I think that's exactly how you have to deal with it, because my gosh, what else are you going to do? Are you going to fight about it? If you fight it, it's just going to get bigger and festery and yucky. I think you're doing the right thing. Shastina says, Frankie, I'm learning how to handle it still. Naps come twice a day and I'm so exhausted. Fibro, sinuses, and all. Hey, if you can manage it, by all means do it. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Not one thing. Brad, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, exactly.
Napping, being so tired, having to nap a couple times a day.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're going to get, the more and more you're drained, as I say, there's another comment below that Eddie knows exactly the same thing. It's about changing your mindset, but also changing your lifestyle. Even though all this stuff is happening, to eat clean, to exercise, to get out in the fresh air. So instead of putting yourself and pulling yourself back, getting drained, taking all these kind of naps, which will help, but getting out in the fresh air, getting out in the sunshine, interacting with other people or other groups is very important. Not keeping everything in is also important, I think, as well. If you have nobody to talk to, then journal. Any way that you can get it out is the best way to do it. But really, eating clean food and exercise and meditation, things like that, that's the best way to clear your mind. It's the best way to get inner strength. Also, too, in doing that lasso of light, whether it's a pink light, a green light, something like that, a white light, those are the best lights to use to encompass love and bring that, kind of stuff to your body. But you want to keep your mind as clean. Junk food will bring your mind down. It'll make you think less of yourself. It's just something in the chemical. When all that sugar breaks down, when all that stuff breaks down, it's not good. And especially when you have somebody on you all the time that's constantly, whether it's a parent telling you're no good, whether it's somebody doing the same thing, that they're putting you down. Having a poor diet and not exercising really makes a big difference. And it can be a 10-minute walk a day. It doesn't have to be like going to the gym and working out 3-4 hours a day, but making better choices, cleaner choices will really help you mentally, and it'll also make you physically stronger as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And another thing I want to say is, John 3:16 says, you're correct, Angie, count your blessings. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I want to point out. Something I tell my clients, I tell you guys every day, think about 10 things you're grateful for and 3 things you love about yourself, and physically write it down if you need to when you wake up in the morning and before you go to bed at night. It really does change your vibration. If you can focus on what you're grateful for, even like, just say, starting right now in this moment for 24 hours, every time you think a negative thought, say, nope, I'm going to cancel that thought and I'm going to replace it with this affirmation of my true divine desire, whatever that is. So if you truly, it doesn't even have to be connected. So if you're just like, I'm so ugly, go, nope, I'm not going to replace that with, I'm not having that. I'm going to replace it with my true divine desire, which is I have more money than I've ever needed all the time. You know, whatever.
Mhm.
Always think about what you want, not what you don't want. If you think you're ugly and you can't get past it, then think about other positive things, or just decide that you're beautiful because you probably are. I'm just saying. Okay. Um, one last question, and then we're going to wrap up. We have Shelly Kelly who says, "Do all empaths feel energized after petting animals, or is it just me?" I do personally, and I don't know that all empaths do, but personally, I really, I mean, I love my pets, and I
Mhm.
cannot like, you know, if I know my son does too, and my middle son is a big empath like I am, and he also feels very connected to animals. This kid won't even kill a spider. So, I mean, not that anyway. Brad, thoughts on that?
No, exactly. I mean, I think too, because pets are like family, and they're also the one living thing that I think will give you unconditional love. They don't have drama, they don't have stress, they don't have stuff going on. So when you get something clean, like a little child, same idea, they're very pure, they're very innocent, they're all about love. And just to comment on something a little bit earlier about gratitude, if you need a physical item, you can have like a gratitude rock that
Hmm.
you put on your counter or carry in your pocket. So every time you touch that rock or feel that rock or hold that rock, you have to say something that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter at any time, you know, you just have it there in your purse, in your pocket, and on a counter. So the same, do it in the morning before you get out of bed, do it at night before you go to bed. Those three things in the morning, three things at night, because that's what's going to stay in your brain. Or if you're out and you're having a stressful situation, then just pull that out. Okay, I'm grateful for this. Just break your cycle, just interrupt your pattern right there.
Yeah. And we talked about pattern interrupt earlier this week or last week on this channel. So check that video out as well. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up for right now. We will be back here for the Empowered Empath next Tuesday at this same bat time, same bat channel. However, on time, hopefully. Had technical difficulties today. My fault completely. Thank you guys for waiting for us and for being here for us. One more thing, I will be back later today at 1 p.m. Central Time for our second session of today, and that will be our usual narcissistic abuse recovery support session. So make sure you pop in for that if you need to. And be Red, any last words before we wrap up for the day?
Exactly. Always be a priority, never be an option. I love you all, and be here next week or even this afternoon, 1 o'clock p.m. to see Angie. And we'll see you all next week.
All right. As always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And thank you for letting me be a part of yours because it really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon. All right. Now I got to find my little thingy to click off. Okay. We're going. Bye, be rad.
Hey, see you, Angie. Bye, everyone.